From Careco TV, one of the longest running outdoor programs on television today. Exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. This week on Americana Outdoors, Denny Thompson and brothers Josh and Derek Walczewski embark on a North American ice fishing adventure in sub-zero climates. With a wind chill of -40 degrees on day one of their outing, the guys give us an inside look at what it's like to fish out of a wheelhouse on the ice.
We're up here in northern Minnesota on the western side fishing kind of a prairie pothole region lake, and it's one of those mixed bag lakes. It has crappies in it, it has northerns in it, it has walleye in it. So I'm very excited to get out there and kind of see what we can get. I mean, you put your jig down and you never know what's gonna bite, and this lake is known to have some giant crappies in it up to 13, 14 inches. It's got some good walleyes in it, and there's a lot of them. So it should be a good time. I mean, there's a lot of fishermen out here, so there's a lot of pressure, but I think we're going to be able to find them with the Panoptix and really get on these fish and also kind of showcase what Panoptix can do for you out here. Look at that crappie! Holy crap!
That's a good one.
That is what we're here for.
Yeah.
We've got what are called our wheelhouses, and we call them wheelhouses because they've got wheels on them. You can crank the house up when you're trailering it down the road, and you can crank it down and set it right on the ice. They've got furnaces in them, lights, TVs, ovens, stoves. It's really like a camper on ice, essentially. And so, you know, we're out here, we got the generators running, we've got our TVs going, plugged in through HDMI cables into these GPS map Garmin units, and we're able to literally sit back on the couch and watch the fish come in on our 32-inch TVs. I've got, you know, my two good buddies, Josh Walczewski and his brother Derek Walczewski, out here on the ice with me, and they're probably some of the best ice fishermen that I know. I mean, they always catch fish, and they've really kind of helped design, you know, these Live Scope and these Panoptix and tried to make them, you know, set up for what an ice angler wants. With Live Scope, it gives you so much more clarity than even Panoptix gave you. And you know, we've been seeing some northerns come through the house. You can see their tail paddling as they go by. You can pick out individual fish, and it's true to scale. So if you see a fish that's a foot long on the screen, that fish is a foot long. So Live Scope is really kind of the latest cutting edge thing right now, and having it in a fish house is pretty cool. Here's a really good example. So if we look here, we've got some smaller bluegills right here. But look at that, boom, boom, boom. Those are crappies. And the cool thing on Live Scope, it's true to scale. So if the fish looks big on the screen, it is a bigger fish, you know. Unlike when you get your other marks like on traditional and that, it's sometimes hard to tell. With this, it's true to scale, you know, from 15 to 20 is really 5 feet. So you can see those crappies, those dots are a little bit bigger. They're bigger fish that are down there. And the best part is like those two crappies, you know, one of them's 25 feet away, the other one's 35 feet away, you know, back behind the house actually is the way we've got it pointed. And so we're sitting here fishing, but we're watching the fish coming from 35 feet away, you know?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to be able to watch them from that far away. Yeah, here comes. You got that one too.
Boom, yeah.
Just that easy. And it's funny, you can see what, you know, the size of all the fish on there.
Yep.
There's 10 little ones. Pull it away and catch a little bit bigger fish when they come through. So, no, they're not that waxy.
They've got us all worked up. We can't even sit down right now. They're everywhere on the screen. Look at them charging my jig. Look at that. Coming.
Too excited.
You don't want it. Oh yeah, look at that. That's actually not a bad one there either. Yeah, no doubt. It's literally like video game fishing with Live Scope.
They're not all huge, but man, they're really fun watching them.
Yeah. think the crappies are gonna move in here once the sun gets a little lower though.
Yeah.
It's just a warm up. This is just a warm up. Look at that on the screen.
There he's going up.
All right.
Yeah. Look at that crappie.
Oh yeah. That's what we came for. Woo. That's a
slab.
big one there. Look at that.
That's a nice one.
That's why you come to this area. Yes.
Nice.
And that's what those bigger marks are off to the side, some of the bigger crappies. I mean, that's, you know, look at that over my hand. That's a big crappie.
That's a beauty.
And you want to know what that is? A crappie sandwich for tomorrow.
You got it. I ain't gonna argue there. Oh, here comes a good one off the bottom.
Look at that. Looks a little better on that rod.
Yeah, it feels, I suppose at 3, they're really gonna. Whew. Yeah, that's a nice one.
That's a nice one. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
The first night in the wheelhouses was quite fun, you know. We were set up and we actually all jumped into my house because I've got the 32-inch TV set up to the 8610. We had a lot of bites, lots of bluegills, lots of small crappies. We caught a couple of nice crappies too. Overall, really good evening in the wheelhouse. It was fun.
Well, coming up, the guys brave the rigid temperatures and head out on the ice with their Garmin Panoptix ice fishing bundle on a mission to find schools of large crappie.
As people who love the outdoors, we know what we stand for. We stand for fish, wildlife, and conserving the places they call home. We stand for the traditions we inherited and that we must pass on. We stand for great gear, fair prices, expert service, and memorable experiences. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we stand together for you.
You sons of fishes. Ain't enough fish on this lake for 2 clubs.
Really? Well, we see plenty of fish live with Panoptix.
Yep. Dang, we should get Panoptix. Or maybe we'll just take yours.
What's going on here? You boys have license?
Yes, sir. Nope.
There he is.
Oh, I got it.
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Well, it's the morning of day 2 for this trip, and the weather is warmed up to a balmy 6 degrees. Let's see how the guys have adjusted their game plan for the day.
So today we've taken a little bit different of approach. We've kind of left the hard houses back in the bay where we were catching a lot of those panfish. And we want to kind of target and go after some big slab crappies today. And we knew they were out on the main lake. The snow is really deep out here, so it's been kind of hard getting out here. We were stuck a few times. But we know the big fish are out here, so it'll definitely pay off. We picked out some spots where we thought there'd be some big fish, and we're kind of on a nice point right here. Typically with these crappies, we go out, we find the deep holes, and the crappies will kind of suspend with them. These crappies in this lake are actually relating to structure. So there's a nice big point that comes out, underwater point, and the crappies are literally just kind of following that structure around. And what we're doing is trying to stay in front of them and follow them around as well. And so we set up on the tip of the point, we dropped on the Panoptix, we found the school, and now we've just been following, you know, them down to the south here basically. This is really more of like a tactical type of fishing than what we were doing last night in the house. Last night in the house, we're sitting there and we're kind of, you know, with the furnace running and we're nice and warm and, you know, just reeling them in one after another on Live Scope because the bite kind of turns on in the evening. But today, what we're out trying to, you know, drill holes and follow them with Panoptix and kind of get in front of the school of bigger crappies that are out here. Look at that. Look at that. It might be cold. The snow might be deep. This is really what we're out here to do, and we're just trying to get in front of that school. These nice big eaters like this are out in front of the school, and you know, it sure is fun when you can reel in a crappie like that. They're just so pretty, they're so good eating. But these bigger ones here, you know, we're throwing them back, and I think that's kind of the right thing to do. Put these bigger crappies back and let them make some more crappies. But that is definitely what we're out here for. Back down you go, buddy. You know, we like to do catch and release, obviously. We've been talking about throwing some of the big ones back and you know, also putting some of the small ones back. And you really want to be careful with the fish. It's so cold out here today. On a day like this when you're fishing on the ice, you don't want to keep those fish out of the water too long. I mean, Josh, I know if you take them out of the water, they'll freeze really quickly.
Yeah.
Here's another one. And if you watch when he pulls his fish up, we'll pick it up, take a look at it, but get it right back in the water right away so their eyes don't freeze up and their fins. And it's just, you owe it to the fish to kind of take care of them when it's this cold out.
Right, yep.
On the crappie mission, we drilled a lot of holes, and the reason for that is what we were really finding is we needed to stay in front of that school of crappies. So the quality crappies, the bigger crappies, and the more active fish were definitely in the front of the school. And so we'd look on Panoptix where the school was, we'd run over, drill a hole, and we'd catch some of those active fish. But as soon as that school moved on, we had to keep following it to stay with them. So, I mean, I think by the end of the afternoon when we were done with that crappie mission, we had probably drilled close to 75 holes, 100 holes.
It would be absolutely impossible without Panoptix to stay on them today the way they are. That's some around the cord, but yeah, it's a big crappie.
There we go, that's what we came for.
Yeah, it's a nice one, huh?
There's a whole cloud of them down there, but isn't that funny? So what are we, 10 feet apart? I'm not even marking a fish and you're on the whole school.
Yeah, they're really tight today. I suppose with the weather and stuff, they just seem like they're real hugging real tight. So
it's almost, you know, amazing to know what we probably missed all those years before we even had Panoptix. The thing is though, is, you know, back in the day, like right now I'm fishing a flasher because I'm on the school. You know, you can see the giant school there on Panoptix, and before we used to have to run around and we'd literally drill hundreds of holes trying to actually find the school. Where now, you know, we can find the school and then it's just a matter of, you know, drilling a hole right on top of them and trying to get them to bite, and this cold weather's kind of got them in a bad mood, but
this might be a good one. Not too bad.
hey,
It's a nice crappie. Boy, he come up out of nowhere.
it's definitely helps make it worth it, doesn't it, when they finally bite?
Stay with us. We'll return with more exciting ice fishing after these short messages.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here.
Yamaha's legendary reliability begins when you turn the key on your new outboard. Now, when you say yes to Yamaha reliability, turn the key on even greater value. For a limited time, purchase a qualifying Yamaha outboard up to 115 horsepower and get 5 years of warranty protection, plus up to $500 in dealer credit. And on qualifying 150 to 300 horsepowers, get 6 full years of warranty protection. So say yes to reliability and say yes to a great deal from Yamaha.
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Yamaha Marine. Reliability starts here. Sunline FC Ice Premium, 100% fluorocarbon. Gill, dress like a pro. Bradley Smoker, food smoking made easy. Welcome back to Americana Outdoors. Well, after drilling dozens of holes, Danny, Josh, and Derek have finally gotten in front of the school of crappie fish they've been chasing all morning, and their hard work is yielding high returns.
So those are the fish that we have come out here to find, and you can see the fish are a lot bigger. I mean, look at the mouth on that. That's like a largemouth bass, and you know, we're so careful with these fish. We want to get them back right away, but we've been out here all day. My hands are frozen, my gloves are frozen stiff from crappie slime, and you know, it's all worth it, I guess. At the end, we're finally catching some big crappies, and that's what we set out here to do. And just goes to show you what Panoptix can do. This is a lake I have never been to. These guys have only been to a couple times, and we just looked at the map on our lake view maps, found a spot that looked good, and came out here, searched around with Panoptix. We're able to look 150 feet with that Panoptix today, probably even beyond that. I think we've seen some fish even farther than that. and found the schools. We finally found where this school is kind of settling in a little bit, maybe for the evening. And look at this, one after another now, we're bringing in some fish. So just really goes to show what Panoptix can do for you. This looks like a big one again. They are big out here, aren't they?
Yeah.
It seems like these fish were a little bit finicky from the cold front, so we kind of downsized, and we're using a small jig, but we're using a tungsten jig. And the reason that's nice is that tungsten jig will drop really fast for you. So, you know, we're fishing deeper water, 30 feet of water, and you need a small jig to get down quick, but you also need to have the feeling of that jig when it's down there. So we use a small tungsten jig, and we actually were using some Sunline fluorocarbon ice line. It's nice to fish braid because you get the sensitivity of it, but when it's this cold outside, I mean, that ice just sticks to that braid, and your line will get so filled up you can't even get it to run through the guides or anything. So we're fishing this Sunline ice line, and it's a fluorocarbon, which is kind of nice because it's a little bit more abrasion resistance here on the ice, and it doesn't freeze up, which is nice. And on these crappies, you know, I'm fishing a 6 pound. I think Josh is fishing a 3 pound, but it gives you just a little bit more, you know, stretch with the mono, but the fluoro is nice and sturdy, so you can still set the hook into these fish pretty good even in that 30 feet of water. Of all the great technology we have, I feel like that new flasher page is one of the most exciting things. We needed to kind of refresh our flasher screen essentially and make it more ice fishing friendly and more up to date, and so these guys did a lot of testing and gave a lot of great feedback on what we needed, and we were able to come up with a flasher, but we also got the 2 sight windows on each side of the flasher that you're able to zoom in on, literally just using your fingers, pinch to zoom.
A lot of the ideas we incorporated in the flasher unit itself is the 2 slide windows on each side of the flasher screen. We got a zoom window on our right side that you can select any zoom you want. You can slide that whole window up and you want target 1 fish because it looks like a real nice fish on the screen. And you can zoom in within a foot of that on the one side, and I mean target within a 1/4 inch really when you're jigging that fish up or down or whatever they want.
So believe it or not, one of the problems that we're running into today is there's too many fish out here. So Josh was saying, there's so many fish, I can't see my jig. What he did is he just literally with the swipe of his finger went to a higher frequency, which brings that cone in a little bit, and he's able to focus in on his jig and individual fish versus covering a big, you know, wider area of the bottom and not being able to see anything because there's so many fish in that cone angle. So look at that. So when you go from a wide to 16 degrees, there's fish everywhere. He's covering right now, it tells us right on the screen, 11 feet of the bottom. And now if he were to scroll it back up to 7 degrees, a narrower angle and a higher frequency, we're down to covering only 5.5 feet of the bottom here at 8 degrees and no fish on the screen. That's how precise you can zoom these things in and dial them in.
And look at how far they come away.
Yeah, here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Ow! That's awesome. I mean, look at that. He's a fighter, huh?
Yeah. I don't think he's too big, but no, same as the other one.
Crappie sandwich. Yep. I'm telling you guys.
When we return, the guys are wrapping up their day on the ice, and later we'll join them for a delicious fish fry to bring their ice fishing journey to a perfect end.
Secrets are created to protect information, but keeping a secret is not as easy as it seems. For over a decade, anglers across the nation have used Secret Lures tackle to reel in their catch. From small ponds to large bodies of water and tour-level events, the secret to their success has been tied to the end of their line all along. They've been using Secret Lures. First you've heard of them? Maybe your fishing buddies aren't really your buddies. Visit secretlures.com and place your order today.
We demand a lot from the products that we use on our adventures around the world. When it comes to keeping things seriously cold, we rely on Angle Coolers, who have for over 50 years kept things cold. Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Sawyer Products. Sawyer, we keep you outdoors. Engel, the original high-performance cooler. And by Yamaha's proven off-road ATVs and side-by-side vehicles. We're on location in northern Minnesota with the Garmin team testing out various Garmin products. Hear what Danny had to say about the new Garmin InReach.
So one product that Garmin has come out with recently that I've really started to appreciate is the new Garmin InReach units. And basically what these are is it gives you like satellite communication so that if we happen to get into an emergency situation out here on the lake, I can actually send an SOS and be able to get the attention that we need, whether it's medical attention or emergency attention, and the ability to reach out to someone when you're in that situation is definitely a great peace of mind.
The guys are on the last leg of their fishing weekend. Before heading back to camp, they have a few more fish they want to haul in to take back for their fish fry tonight.
Good one?
Yeah, not bad. That's a nice one, huh? I was just trying to get 2 higher marks, and then I seen one down below moving around a little bit, so I dropped down to him. Thought he was maybe a little bigger, but
he looks like a head shaker, but
yeah, I don't know if.
Yeah,
I wasn't letting that one get away. Oh, that's a tank.
Look at that.
It's a slab, huh? That was all worth it. Cold hands and everything.
So, ice fishing is really a huge growth category in the fishing industry. And, even since when I was a kid, fishing has changed tremendously. We obviously didn't have big crank down houses on wheels with, TVs in them and all that kind of stuff. It was more you just sat there with your jiggle stick. If you had a flasher, that was awesome. Today, ice fishing is a very high tech, very advanced fishing. And we can get out here with Panoptics and see fish 100 feet away, which is something that even, a few years ago was just unthinkable. So, the technology has really changed the game, even, from the clothes we wear to the type of rods we use. Everything in the ice fishing world has just changed and is really kind of cutting edge right now. It's kind of a fun category to be involved with.
With our time out on the lake wrapped up, the guys have made their way back to the wheelhouses to enjoy that rewarding fish fry they've been looking forward to after an exhausting but fulfilling day of ice fishing.
We are cooking up what we caught on the lake today. That's the smell of success in here. Look at that. Just wait. Straight from the lake to the frying pan. Finally get that crappie sandwich I've been talking about. Nothing like sitting on the couch and eating the fish you caught from the day, watching fishing shows on TV. Not good.
Yeah, you can't beat that after a long day on ice.
It's always a good time when you can get out on the lake and catch some fish. And whether we catch fish or not, we always have a great time out here. It's about being with friends and just, finding the fish and sometimes the adventure of it. Today we were busting drifts with the truck. The night before we were sitting in the wheelhouse and kind of hanging out and, joking around with each other. And, ice fishing is such a fun way to spend your time in the winter. It's cold up here, but, we've got the heaters, we've got the houses and the equipment to do it. So, I encourage people to get out and try it. Ice fishing is really kind of a fun way to spend your winters. And it's such a fun way to kind of get out into the outdoors and enjoy, all the Great Lakes that we have up here in Minnesota.
Hey, thank you for watching, and join us next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production.
Probably one of the #1 questions I get, what line do I use?
That's a big debate. For every tour out there, everybody's debating Which line?
I choose the simple side. My choice of line is Sunline.
One of my favorite lines to use is Sunline.
How all can you use it? Anywhere you want to. Anywhere there's water and bass, it's good. Walleye, catfish, trout, speckled trout, sharks.
There we go. I don't say this unless I think it's true, but honestly, it's the best in the market.
At Sawyer, we use the best technology to make simple products that keep you going regardless of your journey. So whether you're boating, hiking, fishing, camping, or hunting, we keep you outdoors with a full lineup of products to both protect you and make the outdoors more enjoyable. Sawyer, we keep you outdoors.
Here at Big Bite Baits, we've got a big line of different plastics, and you know, they're all a tool, so you want to have them with you all the time.
I made several checks in crowded areas flipping that right there. Just a 6-inch Big Bite creek-tail worm.
Here at Big Bite, we came out with 4 brand new colors this year. All 4 of these colors are going to be great fish catching baits. Definitely my #1 go-to bait that Big Bite has out right now is the Big Bite Battle Bug.
Big Bite is leading the way when it comes to innovation and colors.
Many said that we were just obsessed when we started, that there had to be an easier way to smoke food. As time passed, the Bradley family created a lineup of Bradley electric smokers that has made it easier for the novice or even expert chef to get perfect results every time they use it. Grab yourself a Bradley smoker and take your cooking to an all-new level.
Combining the best of old-world craftsmanship with state-of-the-art technologies to bring fishermen everywhere a fishing rod that's feather-light, extremely sensitive yet remarkably durable for any fishing condition or situation. Denali rods, tournament tested and tournament tough. Hobie's Mirage Drive kayaks set the standard for fun on the water. Whether your passion is fishing, sailing, or recreational adventure, Hobie's got a kayak for you. Hobie's Mirage Drive mimics nature's proven designs for efficient and powerful propulsion and enhances your kayaking experience. Mirage Power, Mirage Performance, Mirage Drive. Hobie, enjoy the ride.